Hello, Montana. We're excited to be part of 2020's summer reading program. We are going to talk today about reptiles. We have our friends from ZooMontana here with us today. We're super excited about that. They've brought some live critters with them and are going to teach us a little bit more about reptiles and how they're not amphibians. So hang tight. We're going to switch places and teach you about reptiles. Thanks.
Hi everybody, my name is Nicole. I'm the education specialist at ZooMontana, and today we are going to talk about how you guys can actually help reptiles and amphibians, whether that be if you're across the country in Florida, Texas, New York, or here in Montana. So there are a lot of different things that you guys can do in order to help these animals. One of the first things you guys can do is to provide natural habitats where you live. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to have your yard fully overgrown or anything like that, just something where they can hide or maybe find food. So if you have a garden, that's a great place for toads and frogs to possibly find their food. If you provide little toad houses, which are essentially terracotta pots with a hole drilled in the bottom and placed upside down, so the toad can just kind of go hang out underneath that. If you have little tiny brush piles where lizards, snakes, or turtles can go hide for a little while. If you guys have a natural pond in your backyard or near where you live, make sure that it has some natural aquatic vegetation. Basically, provide a natural area for these animals, because the unfortunate thing is that many of them are losing their regular habitats to urbanization. As we try and find new homes for people, unfortunately we start taking away some of theirs. So the more habitat that you can provide for them, the better they're going to be. Another thing that you can do is to be responsible pet owners. Amphibians and reptiles are incredible pets, but just like every pet, you need to do your research before you take one home. Understand what the requirements are going to be and if you're actually going to be able to provide a good home for that animal, whether it be a cat, a dog, a bird, a snake, and not an alligator, that's probably not the best thing, but even frogs. Those guys, research them. Look up what their natural history is, meaning what do they eat in the wild, where do they live, and all these different things in order to understand how you can best provide a good life for that animal, because unfortunately most people don't do this. Most people will take home a little 12-inch snake thinking that this is going to be a cute pet. Unfortunately, that snake might be a Burmese python, which are amazing animals, but you have to be pretty savvy pet owner in order to take care of them, because a Burmese python can grow to be 18 to 20 feet long when they are fully grown. Yeah, that's a big snake. So either you're going to have a huge enclosure in your house and be quite willing to give them the rats that they're going to need in order to survive. Otherwise, maybe not go with that species of snake. Maybe find one like a ball python that's a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit calmer. And again, just do your research, folks, because when people don't do their research, they realize that they're not able to take care of these animals. Some of them will do the proper thing and bring them to a rescue center in order to find a new home. Other folks don't do that, and they will release them to the wild, thinking, hey, that animal should be able to survive out there. The unfortunate thing is, most of these animals are not from the area where you are living, and they might not be able to survive. For example, most snakes are not able to survive here in the Montana cold, so that's just letting them out where they're not going to have a good life. On the other hand, though, they might become what's called an invasive species, which means that when this animal is released to the wild, it has a similar habitat to their native one, and also they might not have any controlled predators, which means they might have animals which aren't able to keep them under control and take them out of the population. A great example of this is the Burmese python in the Everglades in Florida. Due to the pet trade, many of these animals were released into the wild, and Florida, with its nice, warm, humid environment, which is great for folks who want the sun, is very similar to the Burmese python's native area in Southeast Asia, so they love it. They were able to survive very, very well, and since the Burmese python can get to be almost 18 to 20 feet long, that means not many animals can control them and get rid of them. Burmese pythons can even eat alligators. So they're in a food chain where the animals have not adapted to them, and they're eating the food that other animals need to survive. So they're actually causing a lot of problems in the Everglades. So if you take an animal in as a pet, make sure that you do your research, you're able to provide them a good home, and if it turns out in the future that it's not working out, you're not able to provide them that home that you really want, then do the right thing, bring them to a rescue, find a new home for them. Do not release them out into the wild, because that's not fair to anybody, be that the animal that you took in or the habitat that you might be releasing them into. Now, a final thing that you can do in order to be able to help out is very, very simple. Educate yourself. And you can take some information that you learned here today that I told you and go tell someone else, or you can look up online books, TV with documentaries about the animals in the world that you are interested in, and go tell other people about that, because by spreading the information you are helping teach others, because we can only protect what we care about, we only care about what we understand, and we only understand what we are taught. So by helping teaching others, you guys are helping protect the world that we live in, which include the reptiles and amphibians. So thank you guys so much. I hope you learned something here today, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you! Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you learned a lot about amphibians and reptiles. We hope you come join us at the Museum of the Rockies and check out live reptiles all summer long.
Thank you also for having us, and we are super excited. Come see us in Billings at ZooMontana. This summer, there's always some fun things to do when you take a walk on the wild side.
And when you come to ZooMontana, you guys can actually meet our live animal ambassadors up close and personal, because during the summertime, we have amphitheater programs where you guys can learn about these amazing creatures. So thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day.
See ya!